All right, let's switch this over.
I'm
Transition.
gonna hit it halfway through. That's blinding. It's a lot brighter than you think.
All
It
right,
looked all right.
welcome everyone. This is the IDP guys live stream start sit bonanza championship weekend, championship Sunday. Time to get the starts and the sits for your IDP lineups in. We're already starting to get some questions. I'm just gonna keep them rolling in. We're gonna build up a little suspense, keep this conversation that was happening. Joe over here. Well, first off, I'm Nathan. I'm here with Johnny.
Hey,
Here with Gary.
Merry Christmas.
And here with Joe the Tooth.
Good morning.
Yes. Joey was just taking a
Fucking
victory
Sam
lap.
couldn't make it.
Yeah, Sam wasn't here, but, you know, whatever. Joe was taking a victory lap over his Adrian Phillips call.
Yeah.
Got me 20 points last night against
Yep.
Johnny.
How's the rest
Oh,
of that
yeah.
matchup looking?
It's starting to be manageable. Instead of him being projected at 100 points more than me, now it's only 50.
Sweet.
So there's that. We'll see how it goes tonight. It could go either way.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that. I was gone all day. I can't believe some of those upper so-called gurus didn't see Phillips' performance coming. You know, that just goes to show right there, man. Come to us, people. We know what the fuck we're doing.
yeah, and I think his projection was part of it too. Yahoo hasn't caught up on him. So
Yeah, I think it was projected like 6 points.
yeah, right. Depending on your scoring, he was not projected well at all. But we
Yeah.
all
Eh.
knew that was bullshit.
Anybody that's really just depending on projections and not going past that, they really need to listen to somebody like us. In my opinion, I mean, projections are crap. Projections are some average. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with any changes on the field.
hmm And a lot of sites are behind usually. Like Michael Thomas is projected at
Yeah.
nothing this week. Like, come on,
0.
really? Like, yeah.
All right, so let's start off with the first question. I'm going to kind of kick it out there. I'm going to grab a coffee because I forgot that in my setup.
Again.
So the first one's from IDP Ranger. He says Kawan Short versus Atlanta or Carl Nassib versus Dallas. And you guys talk amongst yourself on that, and I'll be right back.
I just saw something on K1 Short. I'm not sure if he's even playing, to be honest.
Yeah, he's questionable. But either way, I like Nassib better anyway, especially
Yep.
against Dallas.
Yep. Dallas is very top of the board, allowing points to defensive tackles, and they
I think they're
are
like top 3 in giving up sacks.
K1,
yeah, that they're
here we go.
top 10.
Adam Schefter, Panthers DT K1 Short. Listed as questionable, not expected to play today.
That's actually very nice because I'm playing against somebody with him.
For anybody that doesn't know either, noticed last week, even with Vinny Curry back, and this is actually why I made Nassib. I kind of made this call, seeing this coming. Even with Vinny Curry back last week, Nassib got the start, and he actually played quite a few more snaps than Curry did. So I think you'll find that Vinny Curry will probably be a free agent next year for them to clear some cap.
Yeah, Dallas has given up the second most sacks, actually, only one behind Houston. They give up 51 sacks this year.
Yeah. They're on my charts. They're in the top 10 allowing points to defensive ends and the very top of allowing points to defensive tackles. So there's plenty of fucking production to be had there.
Yeah, definitely. Works for me.
Now it makes me want to. Damn it. I might try to. I left Grady Jarrett in the flagship league, and I got Nassib sitting there. I don't know why I didn't see that. I guess really I have a problem of trying to. Grady Jarrett got me here, but his matchup is against what, the Cardinals.
No, they got Carolina today.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which might not be that bad.
Yeah,
No.
backup quarterback too.
Yeah.
To defensive tackle, they're in the bottom 3. So I think if I get a chance, I'm going to change up.
Yeah, that's not a bad move. Did
Uh,
you guys read any of the Patriots Gordon stuff? They had 24-hour security on him, and
Holy shit.
he still like evaded them and got away, and that's how he managed to like use again and get caught on the test. Like,
And the guy he needs to do like years and years. He just needs to get himself right. He needs to stay out of the spotlight. I don't think
It's
any
too
of it
late,
helps
man.
him.
It's too late.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not too late for him personally, but it's too late for him on the field.
yeah,
Yeah.
for him.
You know,
I think all
I
the
gave up on him a long time ago.
I think all the popularity and being in the spotlight and everybody talking about it just makes it even worse and worse for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you constantly have somebody up your ass saying, "Hey, are you using? It makes it freaking worse.
Mm.
Well, I mean, an addiction is not a joke.
Right.
And I respect, but it's marijuana again, right?
They
That's
said others too.
Oh, really?
in the
The
past.
possibility of others.
Yeah, in the past it's been alcohol and marijuana. We don't know what it is now.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting ready to say, man. I mean, me personally, you know, I mean, I struggled with drinking back when I was younger, especially. But if I was making, say, $5 million over 5 fucking years, I
Yeah.
swear to God,
Right.
You can stop.
Yeah, and
Yep.
and it sounds like they did everything they could to help this guy. Like, they
24-hour surveillance.
right,
man.
they pulled the Cowboys. They did what they did with Des Bryant. They had a dude follow him around and make sure he didn't get in trouble, and he somehow avoided this guy and got in trouble. Like,
I want a
it's
cup,
crazy.
Nate.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get you one.
That looks sweet. Let me see that again.
That is
Yeah,
nice.
That'll look fucking good on my
So this
in
is,
my hand.
This is considered the Philadelphia special. If you look at the glyphs in the background, it says
I don't want that.
eat horse poop.
That's sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to get some more of those onto the site. Speaking of, for everyone out there listening, thank you for allowing my little break there as I got some cheese sticks and some coffee. I'm
Cheese sticks, breakfast of champions.
Yeah, technically this is nearly my lunch, so because I've already put in a work shift, so it's one of those days. One of those days.
Before you get into some questions, let me cover some on Twitter here real quick, and then if you don't mind, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
while you guys approach some stuff, I'm going to take care of this to pay my debt.
Yeah. Before we get into all that, make sure while we've got everyone here, you're following us on Twitter at IDP Guys. You're subscribed to the podcast. IDP Guys comes out each week. We're just wrapping up the regular season of shows and checking out the website, idpguys.org, where these fine gentlemen write and I edit. So keep those questions coming in. We will get to every single one because we never miss one. And Gary, you're going to start off with some off of Twitter here, right?
Yeah, just real quick here, I want to give a shout out to Brandon Stewart. Yeah, you're right. Without Walker and Gathers, Leonard should feast. That's a good call. And then I got a Roy Kawankam, if I didn't pronounce that right. Just I'm a Briar. Deion Jones, Rokon Smith, or LVE. Who to sit? I sit LVE just in case of Sean Lee.
Yep.
Shane Spence, Big Tackle League. Rather start Williamson versus Packers or Jack versus Miami. Probably Miles Jack. I'd go with Williamson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. I think I have one more. Give me 1 second. I've already answered a lot. Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to, oh, wait a minute. 1 second. That's it. All right, I'm going to pay my debt. Sam, you better be fucking watching.
Yes, let's see it.
Yeah. So a little background here. Last time we were together, which was 2 weeks ago, Gary and Sam had a bet based off of who would have. It was what was it? DeForest Buckner versus John. Do you remember the other guy who was on the Broncos?
Go Buckner. Akeem Hicks.
Akeem Hicks. Yeah, that's it. On Chicago, and Gary said that Buckner would have double the points of Akeem Hicks, and Gary even said he'd take out any touchdowns or anything like that. And so the bet was if Gary lost, he had to give himself chops, and if Sam lost, Sam would have to shave everything but his neck so that he'd have a neck beard. I was really
So
hoping,
disappointing.
Yeah, I was really hoping Sam would lose because that would look better. But now Gary's got some chops, which is pretty cool. The result of that bet was DeForest Buckner having... Or wait, no. Sam took DeForest. Gary took Akeem, and Akeem had just under a half point under 2 times as much as DeForest Buckner. So he was a half point away from winning. So
What are the chances we can get Gary some cat scratches in his chops?
I was telling him he needed to then color them black and then go to like a inner city barbershop and get some lines, like some designs.
Lightning bolts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be great. So
He said he is a Chargers fan, right? Bolts, it's got to be.
yeah, it is pretty great. So we're about to get into some more questions here. As Gary wraps it up, I got a Merry Christmas from Chess 1200 to you too, sir. We've got the questions are starting to pile up as Gary.
And just real quick on the Leighton Vander Esch thing, Sean Lee's a healthy scratch today, so don't worry about your Vander Esch.
Really?
Van Der Esch is good.
Yep. Because Lee,
Oh,
they said Lee would have only played like 12 to 15 plays anyway, and by deactivating him as a healthy scratch today, they can start someone else that'll play more on special teams and stuff.
Good news.
Yep.
Then I put Van Der Esch back in. I was actually worried Lee was going to play more snaps.
No,
Week.
no. They said just that A, they want him for playoffs, assuming that they win one of the next 2 games, and B,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have played much anyway, so they're just.
Nice.
So what happened? What I miss?
Lee is
Sean Lee's a healthy scratch.
right. He's a healthy scratch today.
So
So
fire
who
up
do
your
you guys
LV.
think? If we have Deion Jones, Reagan Smith, and LVE, let me look here.
Let's check out Deion. I mean, Deion Jones hasn't really done too much recently outside of his first game. I mean, he did, but it's all based off of
Yeah, the
passes,
matchup.
interceptions. I mean, his tackles haven't been off the chain.
Mm.
No.
He does get a backup quarterback.
And they're gonna probably run a million times. I don't
Yeah,
see them.
so that
All
could-
right. I am actually changing my mind, looking at my charts. Yeah, Jones is just a victim. It was like a false prophet when he came out that first game, being back in the whole situation of his matchup. So, I mean, he is completely a fucking stud. You know, he still remains my number one suggested IDP guy off the board. But in this matchup, I'm getting ready to let the fella know that Smith, he's out. I am going to go with Smith and LV.
Same here.
Nice.
Just by matchup.
Roquan Smith's been one of the hottest linebackers in the league the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we got questions piling up here. So let's jump over to our Periscope questions. IDP Ranger Jordan Whitehead versus Dallas or Trey Boston versus the Rams.
Let's see.
All right, so this
I
old
like-
man was typing. Say it again.
I like Trey Boston personally.
It's Jordan Whitehead or Trey Boston.
Oh, wow.
I like Trey Boston. He looked like the best safety for the Cardinals last week.
He did look healthy.
He did look like he was healthy, and early in the season he produced a lot when he was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, Jordan Whitehead. I think he's got a lot of promise going maybe towards next year, but he's too spotty for me to start every week, especially when there's other options.
A real problem with Whitehead last week I'm not really fucking sure what they did, but even with Evans out, he only got 60% of the snaps.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go. Yeah, I'm going to have to go the same with Bethia.
Boston. But yeah.
Boston.
Yeah, he's got the better matchup.
Be right back.
Yep. Alrighty. Is that answered? You got more?
Yeah. No, that's good.
Okay. Anthony Hitchens versus Seattle, or Thomas Davis versus Atlanta. This is from Mustache Jerry.
Mustache.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Hitchens myself.
Yeah.
I had him in one of my. I think he was number 10 in my rankings, just because recently he's played well, and the matchup against Seattle's phenomenal.
Yeah, the matchup is right for him, definitely. And while Davis had a monster game last week, Atlanta still is a team that's like throw first, run later. So.
Right.
Nice. All right. So DET2VA, need 2. DeMarcus Lawrence, JPP, or Cam Jordan?
JPP, definitely. Cowboys' offensive line is not what it was. That's for sure.
And DeMarcus Lawrence. I got to go with the first two.
Yeah, right.
Alrighty.
Yep.
Mustache Jerry, Jenkins versus Houston, or Reed versus the Eagles? Which safety to go with?
I like Jenkins.
I like Justin Reed, personally.
Oh, we're getting Gary back. Maybe he can be the
Tiebreaker.
The tiebreaker here.
I just like the matchup better.
I just Philly's secondary is shredded. Jenkins is the only guy making plays back there.
That is true. But does he get as many tackles? Is Hicks back this week? Jordan Hicks?
Yeah, I think so.
So does Jenkins get as many tackles with Hicks back in the mix?
No idea. We'll see.
I don't think it affects him.
No.
So Gary, you're the
Jenkins-
tiebreaker. Jenkins or Reed?
Oh, Jenkins. Well, let's split those hairs a little bit. So we're talking. Let's see, the Falcons. The only reason I even put him in solid was Reed in solid, I believe, was because of his position on and play on the team. Because Falcons are 32nd allowing points to.
Wait, you mean Eagles?
The I thought it was Atlanta and Panthers.
Justin Reed. Other Reed.
Yeah. Sorry. Reed.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. My bad. I was thinking of.
Eric
I
Reed.
apologize.
Yep.
And I just want to say, I realized as I walked out the door that I said Bethia, but I meant Boston.
Yeah, that's all right.
No worries.
But yeah, there's the other Reed safety that's good. That's kind of fun.
Definitely Reed. Definitely Reed. I was looking at NFC instead of my AFC.
There we go. So IDP Ranger, Jamie Collins versus Cincinnati, Gerald Hodges versus Rams, Raekwon McMillan versus Jacksonville, or Josie Jewell versus Oakland.
I like Raekwon there. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jacksonville's just going to run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Jacksonville offers up a lot of production of those linebackers.
Right. And Kiko's kind of banged up too, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. So David Ray asks, is Kiko playing? I have Bradham and McMillan from Dolphins for backup. It was the word together, so it kind of, would you bench Buckner? So is Kiko playing is, I guess, the first question. He has Bradham and McMillan for the Dolphins, from the Dolphins for backup. And then would you bench Buckner? So I'm assuming
What's his other option at the DT?
that's a good question. That I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have the injury report yet, do we?
No.
No, we
If
don't.
if Kiko plays,
He's got a good
I don't-
matchup.
yeah, I can't see how you set him.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Bradham, he is. Damn it. don't know. I think Bradham's a solid play. So I would probably lean towards Bradham over Kiko's backup or something, because more than likely they're going to run Baker and McMillan if Kiko is out for the full game.
Gotcha.
Baker's been getting a lot of fucking snaps anyways. You guys remember that call? I'm sorry, I'm still patting the. I called that Jerome Baker, the first or second IDP podcast I did with you guys.
Yeah, I remember that. Because I said Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
because you said Baker down in Miami, and I was like, Baker Mayfield? I don't know. I must have been drunk or something. So to answer your question, as far as who this guy has outside of Buckner, he said Hayward.
Cameron Hayward for Pitt?
Yeah, it's got to be.
I'm assuming.
I'd go Buckner.
Buckner over Hayward?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I
agree.
So Chess 1200 comes with a couple comments here. He's got all his stash guys. He said, good job on all the stashes, and he says he thinks Gary still has some futures in him.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I plan on. I got to start filling some content up. I got to get back to doing the regular writing that I do in the off season. My time is so occupied doing these charts through the week to keep this shit up that my regular writing is, slacking. So to get a futures in or something like that, I do have some calls to be made over the next month. Nate, we got some exciting shit coming up for the IDP Guys website. Nate's got that ball rolling. We got we got a playoff league right now, and I'm kind of running that. I had to get these last charts in. We've got other special shit I'm not going to mention unless Nate wants
Gary,
to do.
It's Christmas, and let's let these fine folks unwrap their first gift early. So we are launching a new podcast, a second podcast. This one's going to be hosted by Joe, Gary, and Sam. It is going to be called the No Bullshit Podcast, based off of Gary's tipster and no bullshit analysis.
Hell yeah!
I'm working now on getting the logo together, getting everything set up. It'll have its own website, but we're going to share the content, the writing content between the IDP guys and that, as well as the podcast. Basically, you could go to either website and get the same content, but we're adding this second pod to our family of podcasts, growing family. And that's one of the things that we're launching this off season, and it's not even even close to everything. There's so much more coming. So definitely get excited. We're excited. We're looking forward to launching this. Gary, I know, is chomping at the bit. He was trying to start it, one was that was a couple months ago and kind of didn't have the success. So we're coming in, the IDP guys, energy, I guess. I don't know, to make this a reality for him. What do you got? What do you got to say, Gary?
I'll tell you what, man.
Cheers.
I'm so fucking excited to get together with Joe and Sam. I mean, I'll tell you what. I the only thing that would have been better is if I don't know what could have been better. I mean, it was the best fucking news. I've tried a couple of times to get something going, and things have not worked out. And I am just so happy that Nate is doing this for us, and I'm really stoked to have that title of the No BS content, IDP content, man. It just I'm really looking forward to it. Our format's going to be a little bit different from the @IDP Guys website or podcast, and I think that we're going to get some good shit out, and we have a hell of a topic already lined up for our first pod. And it's a very important one. So just do yourselves a favor. It's going to be in plenty of time this spring. We're going to hit on this topic, and it's something that I think that we really need to pay attention to if we want to continue to win our IDP leagues going into 2019, because there's some major changes happening and me and Sam and Joe, we're going to break that shit down, you know?
Yeah. The big topic for this podcast, the overall theme, is going to be Dynasty and diving deep into IDP. So for those that have, recommended for the IDP guys, our main show, to get more into Dynasty, which we are going to, but this is going to be like straight, what is that, syringe full of Dynasty just straight in there, just concentrated right into those veins,
Hard drugs at Dynasty.
So it's going to be a good show. I'm going to be producing it, but I won't really be on the show, and it's going to be a good time. So let's get back into some questions here now that we gave our little announcement that Gary's been sitting on for a month now.
Yeah. It has gotten hard to keep my mouth shut on that shit.
So you guys heard it here first. Let's see. Deviled 66, Deion Jones versus Telvin Smith.
Who the Jag? Oh, Jags got Miami. Yeah, I'd go Deion Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like McCaffrey's going to be like the only thing going for Carolina today.
McCaffrey,
yeah,
or he's going to throw it to Ian Thomas, which Jones will be there too.
Right. Either way, it's not going to be anything out of his range.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So DET2VA, need 2, Deion Jones, Elijah Lee, or Corey Littleton.
I got to go Jones and Littleton.
Yeah.
I'm a Niners fan. I love Elijah Lee, but for me, he's more like a guy if you're in desperation for him.
Yep.
Right.
I agree.
You think they play him 100% again this week?
Oh, yeah. I think the rest of the season, they're just kind of seeing what he's got. Fred Warner's been kind of off the past few games, but
yeah,
I think it's in part to Lee. I think they keep him on for next year, but I don't think he's going to be a main contributor like he has been at the end of the season. I think they find something in the draft. Or free agency, really. They have a lot of cash.
Nice. Mustache Jerry, Avery Williamson versus Green Bay, or Jordan Hicks versus Houston.
Who was the first one?
Avery Williamson.
Oh, Williamson.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time trusting anybody 9 times out of 10 coming
back.
And then you're looking at this situation. This is it, folks. Do you risk it?
Yeah.
When you know that Williamson is at least going to get you solid numbers, you got to go Williamson.
Yep.
Nice. So
I just tweeted out, man.
I know. I just got it.
So y'all spread that love for us.
Yeah. Hit the Twitters. Make sure you're following us all on Twitter. We're very active. We're very responsive to questions all the way any time, basically. So I'm at Nate Sheet. John is at OrangeMan3142. Gary here is at HBogart27. And Joe here is at Joseph Hagen. I'm so used to saying Sean's his Twitter handle when I do that it took me a second. I had a little hiccup. My bad. So that's all the questions we have right now. So make sure you're getting in your start sits. Any question you got, anything. It's championship weekend. I know you've got stuff that you're thinking about, wondering. Whatever it is, we'll take offensive. Why not? And but we want to get those IDP questions out of the way for you. Also, so I got a question for everyone listening right now. We're at championship week. Basically, we would stop these Sunday morning live streams, but would you be willing to, if we kept it going, watching it? Would you guys be here? We would probably get more. We would take your questions, but since there wouldn't be start sits, we'd probably go into some more topics that we didn't discuss on the podcast or in more in depth in them. So you guys out there, let us know if you're liking this format or if you're just here for your question and kind of get in, get out. So we're here, we're listening, we're gonna keep going. but get those questions in. You guys got any questions from your Twitter feeds or anything?
I got one from Discord.
Go for it.
Let's see. Jarrett wants to know, he says, Miles Jack, Trey Boston, Corey Graham, or Eric Reed need 2 DBs and another DP.
Avoid Corey Graham.
Yeah, I like Reed. Who else did he have?
I still do like Trey Boston based off how he played last week.
Yeah, and he's got a nice matchup too.
Yep.
So,
and I think Miami might be, I'm hoping, kind of, that they feed Kalen Ballage a little bit, see if what they have in him, see if he's going to be there for next year. So they might give him a decent amount of touches, so Jack might be able to produce a little there.
Nice. Let's see.
Kiko Alonso's fine, by the way. He's playing.
Okay.
So
Get him in your lineups.
Todd Gurley they're planning on him to play as well.
Yeah.
It looks like there's another question in the Discord.
Yep.
You want to go for it?
Yeah. It says pick 4, one has to be a DB. Fred Warner, Elijah Lee, Nigel Bradham, Nick Vigil, Miles Jack, Zach Cunningham, Justin Reed, and Antoine Bethea.
Justin Reed. Say it again, man, please.
Fred Warner, Elijah Lee, Nigel Bradham, Nick Vigil, Miles Jack, Zach Cunningham, Justin Reed, and Antoine Bethea.
And he needs how many out of that?
He needs one.
He needs
DB,
4 and 1 DB.
1 DB out of there and 3 other guys. DB, I'm thinking Bethea.
Yeah, just because of the tackle upside.
Yeah, and the matchup is ideal. The Rams aren't going to be nearly as shitty this week, I don't feel like.
Right. They shouldn't be.
No, they shouldn't be.
I like Zach Cunningham personally. I think his matchup's pretty solid.
Yeah. Who's Philly's playing Texans, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like Cunningham. I don't trust Vigil this week.
No, maybe Nigel Bradham.
Yeah, you could go him, and you could go Warner probably.
Yeah, I get tossed up between Warner and Lee, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lee's been outproducing him every week.
And
I think it's just because Fred Warner's kind of in charge of running the defense.
So at least we got it narrowed down for you. So it's one of those two, Bradham,
Cunningham,
and Bethea for DB.
Yep.
Word.
So I'm going to be that guy that goes the opposite direction on a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Give me Justin Reed. Give me both Warner and Lee.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
I don't run from the situation of having 2 linebackers or 2 players off the same team. Their production is going to either be there or it's not, no matter if you have them on the same team.
Right.
And I just had this sneaky suspicion that we're going to see the Bears run the ball a little bit more this time to try to fine tune shit.
Jordan Howard bus.
I think they're going to, and I think between Lee and Warner that we're going to see some. The ceiling should be the same to me as all the other. I don't like Bradham so much myself, tell you the truth, but he's still solid. But I like the ceilings of Lee and Warner and Justin Reed.
Gotcha. So just to interrupt right here, FF Stompy, our own Sam Lane, congrats to him on he was just promoted to editor of the IDP guys. He is joining the editing crew. Myself, we're also looking for a third editor, but Sam asks to see those chops, Gary. He wants a little closer look.
There you go.
Yeah, video kind of sucks, man. But we'll get some.
Well, half this shit is gray and white, so you can only get so much going on.
So what we were saying earlier, Gary, is you're a Chargers fan. You said, right?
Yeah, originally from '83 until this year.
So we're gonna dye those chops black and give you some lightning bolts in it.
We are done. We are fucking paid. We are fucking paid, man.
Oh man.
You know, I actually, my wife usually prefers when we go out and do family things for Christmas to be all shaved and shit. And I had to inform her I had to let this shit grow a little bit just to get this going. So, you know, but no. If I make any terms on a bet again, it's on my terms. I had one going the other day. I was going to dress in drag. Had I can't remember his name. But I thought he just reworded it. He was approaching and kind of knocking on IDP myself. I thought he was. So I was like challenging him to get into our playoff contest. And the only thing he had to do was just read some letter out loud, some way, some form, and apologize for cracking on IDP. And I was willing to, if he got in the top 5 of our contest or top 3, I was going to sit here and drag and recite whatever fucking content he had.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way it worked out. No, I ain't doing that, man.
It'll be the Halloween episode next year.
There we go. So let's get back into these questions. J.D. Walla, Sheldon Richardson, or Gerald McCoy? DT Premium.
I like McCoy.
Yeah, I think I like McCoy too,
Yeah.
just based on how much the Cowboys run.
Yeah, that and Cowboys' offensive line. They've allowed, what, the second most sacks this year behind Pittsburgh or something?
Yep, by 1, not behind Houston, by 1.
Oh, behind Houston. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh that had the most.
I think Houston has 52, and I think Dallas has 51.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So we've got an offensive question here. Slim02K. He asks Big Ben or Baker Mayfield in a standard, and he asks why. So explain yourself.
Big Ben. I go with the known. I mean, the Saints are struggling on both sides of the fucking ball. They're the same defensive backs. If Juju, especially if Juju plays, Big Ben's going to come out fucking that shit with Cameron Jordan. You know, the little love-hate here. We're looking at a shootout anyways. Mm-hmm. I don't trust the Browns-Bengals game that much for production on any of their players because it's a divisional game. Yeah, and I mean we kind of seen that I think last night with the Titans and Redskins, even though that's not a divisional game. I'm not a huge fan of the Cincinnati Cleveland game this week. I mean, you ain't got Andy Dalton in there, and it's just a crap fest. Go with Big Ben, man. It's going to be it's going to be a passing circus show.
Gotcha. JD Walla, I think this goes. Okay, he's asking Tremaine Johnson or Bobby McCain.
Let's see the matchup. Who's I
don't know.
Where are the Jets playing?
Yeah, it's a great question, but McCain does not have a great matchup this week, so I'm leaning Johnson. If the matchup.
I don't do cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jets are playing the Packers.
Yeah, definitely Tremaine Johnson.
Definitely Tremaine Johnson.
Yeah. And by the way, K'Wan Short inactive and Kenny Clark Green Bay inactive.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row.
Kenny Clark, they IR'd his ass.
It's the
really?
The other one then. Daniels then.
Mike Daniels?
Yeah. The other nose tackle, the one that's not on IR. The other defensive tackle.
Kenny Clark. It says Kenny Clark right here.
Yeah.
So
be back in 2 seconds. Be right back.
Officially, Green Bay now has no fucking defensive lineman worth of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For IDP. I mean, Kenny Clark has been the only guy in the last 3 years, 4 years, maybe longer. Outside edge rusher Matthews can't get the job done anymore. We've seen that for years. It's unfortunate. But, Kenny Clark being gone it kills Green Bay. Kills IDP, man. He's been a great fucking play this year.
Yeah, he was having a really good season. That's for sure.
Yeah, I thought so.
So let's run through the inactives real quick, since they're pretty much all here. I'm gonna try and skip through anything that if there's no players that matter, then I'm just not gonna talk about that team.
If you happen to notice, Juju and Hilton, I think he said Hilton was playing.
Yeah,
But if you notice
Hilton's
Juju,
active. Yep.
if you see Juju, I could have used that information.
Yeah. Obviously, Jordan Evans is inactive for the Bengals. Let's see. Man, there's Sean Lee, the healthy scratch for the Cowboys. Eric Kendricks is inactive for the Vikings. Glad I pulled him out of my lineup yesterday. Let's see. God damn it, Matthew Stafford's active. That's dumb.
Odell Beckham inactive.
All right. Let's see.
Is
Adrian.
Pittsburgh? Go ahead.
They're a 4:00 game.
Pittsburgh's at 4 o'clock? Okay, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
have that anyway, so.
Okay, that's what it just dawned on me.
Yeah, Adrian Claiborne is inactive.
Their loss.
Yeah. Kenny Clark, we said that. Derek
Aaron
Jones of the Jets, a cornerback, is inactive. That's pretty much everything that I can see that matters. This is a 1 o'clock. TJ McDonald of the Dolphins. I think we already knew that. Xavier Howard of the Dolphins, also inactive.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the inactives right there. Going through that
McDonald, you said McDonald was inactive?
list. McDonald and Howard.
The rookie, go get the rookie. I mean, if you're struggling, the rookie should have a good game in place of McDonald.
Yeah, Minka.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzpatrick, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Yep.
He might be rostered. He was doing good this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everyone out there, we've run through our questions. Get us some more. We will be happy to go through any questions either side of the ball. So let's talk a little bit about, we've got the playoffs coming up. Fantasy is pretty much done after Monday for the most part. If you're playing Week 17 playoffs, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks a lot. So get out of those leagues. What do you guys have on the pike coming up as far as content, in the near future here? What are you guys about to be working on? Joe, you want to start that off?
Yeah, I'm doing a free agency top 3 for each team. I'm going to start doing each division. Start with the AFC East. Look at every team's cap space, what they need in their team, who they're losing to free agency, and what I think they should do. And that's not taking draft into consideration, just what's available free agency and what they can do with salary cap.
Nice.
Yeah. So it'll be each division at a time.
Yeah, for sure. What do you got there, Gary?
Probably going to cover some more futures, probably looking into some guys I'd like to plug. Sam just came out with some great articles, and he covered a lot of the fellas that I'd already talked about. I'm debating on naming a couple more breakouts. You got me busy in the background with some of the extra shit that we have going on. So I got to get caught up. These charts have really, I got to get caught up, and I'll start getting some stuff out. I usually do something talking about the free agents that we have, like, that where they could land and such, something along that line. Probably right now it's kind of a 50-50 on what I do. I honestly can't come out and say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely. I know John's working on putting together a article chronicling his team in the IDP Writers League. We're currently in the championship against each other, but he took a special strategy in the draft and how he played out the year in it, and so he's putting that on paper to help people who might be new to IDP or just want to know that strategy. And apparently it's a winning strategy. It's got him. He was the 1 seed and got him to the championship, and he's probably going to blow me out of the water. So, John, you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I know we all have different strategies, like for IDP drafting and stuff. Like, I know Gary's definitely big on don't fuck up your linebackers. They're your biggest point producers. Whereas I was a little different with things this year. I went with like defensive line, defensive tackle, corner, then safety, then linebackers, and I just built up the safeties and linebackers through the through the waiver wire through the year, and it ended up all coming together, and it made a really nice team. So I just kind of talked through.
I bet it was a good year. I bet it was a good year to do that.
It was. I mean, let me pull it up real quick. Like,
well, you said you drafted Darius Leonard, and you drafted him in the
15th round.
15th round.
Yeah.
Smart move.
Yeah.
He was on waivers after week 3. That's when I grabbed him. I was like, holy shit. He had his first huge week, and I was like, yep.
It's crazy. But yeah, so you're right, Gary. Week 1, I had like a bunch of warm body linebackers, and now I have all guys off of waivers. Fred Warner, Elijah Lee, Jatavis Brown, Nigel Bradham, Todd Davis, Thomas Davis, guys like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Oakland.
Oakland.
No, I did. I used him for a while too.
Yeah. I turned around and the guy in our 32 team flagship, he lost OBJ, and I was just itching to do it anyways. I think that they're going to see what Oakland can do with Deion Jones the next 2 weeks to know what they got going on between those two. So I went ahead and I said, fuck it. And I inserted him over Barron this week. I can't stand to see him sit on my bench, after all the shit that I've been through with this Oakland plugging. So I like that. I like that a lot. And if you guys don't care for a minute, I wanted to throw in my 2 cents on these lives and what Nate was saying about you guys responding out there. I want you to keep in mind, there's one thing you can't do with a podcast unless Nate hooks it up with the phone thing. But when we're live, when you're coming across these brain farts over the off season and you can ask us questions while we're live, we can address them directly to you, and gives us something to feed off of, to look into. Because believe it or not, a lot of times when I get questions on notifications, there's a million players out here. So you bring up a topic, I research it, and I can get you an answer, or I start paying attention to it. So I'm voting that you vote for those lives to continue this off season, and I won't be able to
with us.
Yeah, and I won't be able. I won't be. I surround myself with winners, fellas, and I don't sit here.
The best players.
Yeah. I got to do something this off season. So even if it's not with the IDP guys, you guys are probably going to get tired of watching me do some live streams talking about bullshit, I guess.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that in. Vote for it, fellas. People. Mm-hmm. Let Nate know. We want to have this, even if it's once a month or every other week. What the hell?
Yeah. We're trying to figure out, because I know that there's something to get from a start sit live stream, but if we're doing it and there's no that draw, we want to do this. We're willing to do everything, but we want to put our energy towards the most effective means of helping you guys out. And so we'll be, we'd love to hear from you. We'll probably be doing these, and we might do it next week. I don't know. Gary and I were talking about it. We got to figure it out. So if we do, it'll be at the same time, same place. But we've got more questions. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some questions. I just asked for some on Twitter, so I got some. Somebody else start off.
I was just gonna say from our live feed on Twitter, at Stefan Sharon, he says, "Does Eric Berry have upside this week versus Simmons of Denver? Both have horrible matchups."
Say it again, please.
Eric Berry or Justin Simmons?
Yeah,
Berry
I just got that one
Seattle,
too.
Simmons plays was Oakland.
I'm going Simmons. I don't trust Barry after running 45% of the snaps last week.
Yeah.
They're breaking him in. You can't guarantee that he's even going to play the full snaps this week. And I actually like Simmons. I mean, the role and how they've been using the linebackers in front of them. They keep shuffling them in and out. They did this past week at least. Todd Davis last week fucked me up because of that. Mm-hmm. But there's one person that's on that field the whole entire time, Simmons.
Yeah.
Nice. So we actually have a question from YouTube. I didn't even know that was working. I thought it was all after the episode. So that was cool to see pop up. And awesome. My little program here collates all the questions for me. Top DVSN. This is in PPR. It's an offensive question. Who has the upside, David Johnson or Jalen Samuels?
I almost.
Aren't the Falcons allowing a huge amount of fucking points to the?
They are. No, I think it's like middle pack, really. I don't know. I just like Samuel's game flow because they can throw him the ball too.
Yeah.
And with the possibility of a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I'd take Samuels. If it was my decision, I'd take Samuels.
Yeah. I think I'm going Samuels too.
Yeah.
Just the possibility of how high the score is going to be.
Right.
And every running back they throw out puts up points.
Yeah, absolutely. And David Johnson could be useless after the first quarter if the Rams get up big. So.
Plus, I think Pittsburgh has, 2 or 3 offensive linemen. Or they have 2 offensive linemen in the Pro Bowl, and granted it's a popularity contest, but 2 in the Pro Bowl, and I think 1 backup. So, obviously, the line's very good.
Not a good week to have your Saint DLs in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. I could have sworn I heard somewhere that Big Ben got sacked a ton this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all on his line, though. The man can't move.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw a shout out to that Stephen Charon for the Simmons question. I have a question sitting here. I think I got a couple actually that came in if we are needing some.
Go for it.
All right, so we've got Joseph Calhoun. He wants to choose 2, please. Rogan Edmonds, Cunningham, Littleton, and choose 1, Sean Williams or Buddha.
Sean Williams.
Yeah. I replied Sean Williams on that one, and then I went Littleton, and I am leaning Cunningham.
Who is it? Littleton, Cunningham, and who?
Rogan Edmonds. Maybe Rogan Smith?
Maybe he means Roquan Smith and Jermaine Edmonds.
He didn't put apostrophes between them. So, yes, that's probably what it is. Rogan Edmonds, Cunningham, Littleton. So I'm going Edmonds and Littleton.
I like Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith has a great matchup going against the Niners.
I don't think you can go wrong there.
Yeah, no, I think you're pretty loaded there, regardless.
Nice. Yeah.
And I got some more here, I think. You got anything up there for us, Nate?
No, everything's covered.
There's a Discord question. It's pretty much the same from earlier on it, but Miles Jack, Nigel Bradham, Bethea Reed doesn't say anything besides just those 4.
I believe that's him answering the previous question.
Gotcha. That's a response.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm not surprised that we're a little bit low. I mean, we've either helped these people already get to the playoffs. They've already reached out to us. You got to imagine all the people that lost last week for whatever reason. So, we're, instead of talking all these in fantasy, instead of talking, thousands upon thousands of fucking games to choose from, you're hinged down to just the people that made it to the championship.
Yeah. Speaking of which, for all our guys out there, all our listeners, raise your hand if you're in the championship. I'm curious to know, and if we helped you get there. As far as it'd be interesting to see how many of you guys are here, just to listen to us shoot the shit.
Yeah. I'm 3 out of 4 of my own, and I gotta owe it. My charts, man. Trust my fucking charts. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I unfortunately had a hell of a semester in school, so I was, man, way over my head. I had like 15 or so leagues, and I'm down to, I've got the Writers League that I'm going up against John in, and then a pay league that I look like there's a good shot that I'm definitely gonna win that league, plus possibly win the pot. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I need another one here. Is Swing Mystery. I see Cox strong start going with him today. My opponent dropped him for Atkins, so I hope to make him regret it. He's making a statement. Yeah, you must have looked at the charts. I'm not a big fan of Atkins, to tell you the truth. I mean, I believe he did have a good game last time against the Browns. I think I would lean Cox on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Atkins, I'm avoiding the fucking Browns Bengals game if I can. I don't think there's no clear cut shit there.
Well, plus the Texans have given up the most sacks this season.
Yep.
Right at the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they allow a lot of points to the DL period.
Mm-hmm. So make sure you guys are listening to us each week on the podcast, IDP guys. The No Bullshit IDP podcast coming soon.
Yeah.
Check out the website, idpguys.org, and get involved in our Discord channel. It is a chat room. We have guys who've been playing IDP and fantasy football for like 20-something years, plus our writers. Go on the website, idpguys.org. On the sidebar, there is a little widget for the Discord. You click on it, and it'll take you where you need to go to log in. If you have troubles with that, I understand sometimes people can't work a website properly in 2018/2019. You can just message me, and I will send you an invite link at IDP Guys. Or at Nate Cheat. I'll get you in there. It's great. It's filling up. We've been we put this together, I think it was during like August, and man, we've got like 30 something people in there, and whenever a question pops up, even if one of the writers can't get to it, someone else, jumps in, and there's good discussions going on there. So make sure you're taking advantage of that chat room to be able to discuss IDP. Keep your eyes peeled to the site and to our Twitter feeds. We're going to have some great stuff coming in 2019. Really good content as far as, you've heard it here. Joe's going to be handling free agent stuff. Gary's got his futures and a lot of looks there. John's got some great content. We got Tyler Joseph. About mid-season, he had some life stuff come up, and now he's back in the mix, and he's going to be going through each team, their coaches, the schemes, what might change, what won't change, all of that stuff. We're covering it all. So make sure you're listening, or you're following the show, following us, and all of that. it's going to be a great offseason. Was that your driveway, Joe? Was it someone
Did you
driving
really?
by? Yeah.
Seriously? Man.
Yeah, either that or somebody flushed the toilet.
No, somebody. It was definitely somebody driving by.
Interesting.
I try to think of it as the ocean. It sounds like a wave.
Yeah. All right.
That's funny.
Hey, we're gonna hit up on some of those. I don't think, at least personally, I don't fall for the rookie hype, and I know we're gonna have some shit going on when the draft comes around, and you're probably gonna get from us. I think we're probably going to be able to offer you more of a open-minded type perspective about the rookies in the draft this year over what you'll see with all the fucking hype of falling in love with these guys. If we just look back this year, I mean, there were a few that stepped up. I think I did a list of like the top 10 rookies that performed, and only like 3 or 4 of them were actually preseason hype guys. And it just happened to fall that way. And I also want to throw out a little perspective that usually whenever we have a year where there's a lot of rookies that stand up in IDP, the next year, no matter what the fucking class is, it usually takes a step back. Mm-hmm. For the simple fact is, you have second, third, fourth year people out there that they've earned their way on their teams. They're earning their positions. That a rookie 9 times out of 10 does not just walk on a defense and fucking automatically get the job. He's got to earn it, and there's guys out there fighting him for those jobs. So keep that in mind, folks.
Look at Danico Autry. What is it? His 4th year now, 4th or 5th year, and he's finally making an impact.
Yep. And
it took a team change, and like this second half of the season, he's been awesome.
Nassib done the same thing,
I think the Browns just misused him. I watched him a couple of times last year, and I actually picked him up for a week where he was productive. They just wouldn't use him.
Well, it's also that defense. You're talking a 4-3 to a 3-4.
True. Very true.
If it changes their whole, it almost turns that 3-4 defensive end into a defensive fucking tackle.
Yeah.
That's really what it does in my eyes, when you got outside linebackers on the outside of there. So, yeah, the edge rushers. What do you think, John?
I'm not even paying attention.
You awake, or what's he doing? Nate staring out the window?
He's on his phone.
Working on lineups.
So I put out the last call for questions. We're going to wrap this up around 12:30, so that's about 15 minutes from now. Speaking of draft coverage, we got Sean Lanigan is going to be doing his draft breakdowns. He's not a guy who does any hyping. He's more of just looking at all the players coming in the draft, their strengths, their weaknesses, and just staying informed, basically, so that when someone does land on a team, you can have expectations for how they're going to do. So that's just adding into the mix of the great content we're going to be bringing this off season. But we do have a question at DIOSS or DL0SS or D10SS. I don't know. Full PPR, Robbie Anderson or Deshaun. He says Hammy.
Hamilton.
There it is.
I like Robbie Anderson. He scored in 2 of his last 3 games. I think he's got at least 8 targets in the past 2 or 3 games.
I don't have an opinion.
Screw that offense.
Yeah, flip a coin, dude.
Full PP. I mean, Hamilton does get a lot of targets, but I think best upside would be Robbie Anderson.
There it is. Let's see. What else did I want to cover? So we are. I want to mention this to everyone out there. If you've been, watching football for a long time, been playing fantasy football for a long time, have some writing skills, we are looking to bring on some new writers for the off season. We've put out a open call. Basically, just contact me at Nate Cheat or at IDP Guys and let me know. run through a simple process of just, getting to know you, getting to know your writing style a little bit. But if you feel like you want to take that next step, we are here and looking for writers. It is a volunteer position, but we do offer some great incentives. So,
and I can tell you personally, I mean, I had no writing skills. I still don't have fucking writing skills. If you ever read my stuff, might as well be written in crayon. But I'm telling you, just fucking attempt it. If you have the knowledge, if you want to, try it. Just try it. I mean, don't worry about the feedback that you get. If you get some negative feedback or if you get constructive feedback, just work on it. If this is something that you work for and you want, and there's an opportunity out here for you to get your thoughts out here. Now only time will tell if you're any good at it. But if you got to have the desire, and like I said, I had no clue about structured writing or anything. I hadn't, it's not been my forte. So when I started, like I said, and it looks like it should be written in marker or crayon or something. But the point is to give it a try. And this is a door that Nate is opening up, and there's a lot of people out there that they know a lot of shit. They just don't want to take that next step, or they're afraid to.
Yeah. I agree. Like you can listen to all of us as we talk to each other over Twitter and even all these feeds. Like if you can just take everything you're saying, obviously, and just put it onto paper, it's exactly what you do every single Sunday. You're sitting there, you're talking with your buddies, you're going back and forth on stuff. If you really have things that come to mind that you feel strongly on, put it on paper, see how it looks. Just give it a shot.
And what better group? You got Joe, you got Sam, you got Nate, you got Johnny the Greek, you got myself. It's not like we close our doors. We will help. We will discuss. It's like a learning experience. So the only thing you need is the inkling to do it and have a little bit of knowledge. And if you come on with the IDP guys, I'm sure Nate has plenty of projects for you to write for us that me, Joe, Sam, and John can't get to, so just look at it as what they call that when you're learning on the job.
Oh, apprenticing.
Yeah. There are those possibilities, I would say. In my opinion, I think there is.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our staff came on as new writers. I mean, I poached a little bit from F3. That's where Sam came from, which Sam ended up he's a podcast whore. So
yeah,
but
to say the least,
he came in, had no experience in the writing aspect. It was his first gig, and I actually worked with him to get his writing up to par, and now he's exceeded much of that. Like I gave him the formula and he ran with it. And look at what he's done in a single season. He's gone from being a writer on one site to now he's a writer on 4 sites. He just got the editorship with us. He started his podcast. He's been on our podcast. He's been on a million podcasts. He's gonna have a second one to call home. It's the sky's the limit. It's about how much time and effort you put in. You can learn everything else. And
I'm always impressed when I read one of Sam's to hear, I think you've mentioned this before, to hear how he's developed over the year. Every fucking time I read one of his articles, I come away impressed. They are so well written. And that's not to knock on John or Joe or anybody else, but I enjoy reading Sam's. Even, me and him he's covered some of the guys that I've gone over and stuff, and he can put it on fucking paper really in a nice, sweet, wrapped up package compared to what I feel that I can. So I got to give kudos to Sam.
Yeah, even though he's a whore. He is a whore. He does a good job of bringing in the evidence to support his claims for whatever, adding in tweets, adding in videos, breakdowns.
No bullshit content.
So you learn something coming out of it. he's an example of, just putting a little effort in and taking that jump. So we are looking for writers. We have a solid team, but we would like to grow. Always want to, add voices to the mix. We've got how much IDP content is really out there. I mean, this is the new frontier for fantasy football, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You've got us. We probably tripled or quadrupled the voices of IDP out there. And then you've got, some other places that are reputable and some places that charge you $10 a month to get really bad
bullshit,
really bad content. Jaquiski Tart, where did he end up this year? Was he safety one? Just asking. Curious.
bullshit.
I think John Johnson did better than him, right?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah! And then the same fucking person that said Tart was going to be fucking A1 number one guy with no warnings. I mean, it was a decent call. There was nothing wrong with making the call, but just to say it with no fucking backup was bullshit because he had injury risks this whole fucking career. And just you got to be careful. And then the same dude fucking said John Johnson wasn't going to be shit. Bullshit.
Yeah, and these are the guys that, have 10,000 followers and have, the big names out there. So we just don't want to run you guys, our listeners, the guys who want to actually win championships, run you astray. We want to give you the best information, the best stuff. That's why we back all our takes up with facts, with logic. I don't know.
And if we don't know it, we'll figure it out. We'll go find out what the actual answer is and get back to you. It's not like we're just gonna throw something at you and say, "Yeah, do this."
Not to keep throwing fucking examples out, but Johnny the Greek, come on, man, chime in there. Tell us about the fucking people that said that Mac was going to be a good fucking linebacker play all year.
Well, yeah, the take was that he has the same value as a linebacker as he does as a defensive end, which is clearly stupid.
If it ain't a sack heavy league, people fucking avoid the outside linebackers.
Even if it is a sack heavy league, you've got what 5-6 games this year where he didn't have a sack and you get nothing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. It's a risk.
Yeah.
It's all in the IDP Bible. I'll be preaching the fuck out of that again this year. I'm going to try to update some of just like the rookie success rate. That's the difference between sitting here and just making a shot from the hip. That's what the IDP guys are doing. Sam, Joe, and John. And it's just listen to the facts. Don't listen to them just because they said so.
Exactly. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You should be learning something as you go. The more we repeat our logic, the next time you look at your lineup, you should be able to look.
I got a question.
You got a question? Go for it.
Yeah. Gino, wouldn't you suspect either Ford or Houston to be a good play against a very sackable Wilson who should be forced to keep pace? If so, which one would you play? If not, please explain. Thanks. Well, Gino, if you're listening to us live, if not, I'll have to type this in. Hopefully you're just catching us live here. I mean, if I'm picking between Ford and Houston, yeah, there's no reason not to think that they should produce, especially in a sack heavy. I personally think that I would go Ford.
Yeah, if you have to,
Yep.
I guess I'd go forward, but I don't do edge rush, guys.
Yeah. I just started, so I mean, realistically, it depends on the format and all that. I mean, I'm not going to suggest either one of them over an inside linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
No, I personally like Justin Houston better. I mean, throughout his career, he's shown he can do it. Plus, in his last 2 games, 2.5 sacks. D Ford has played well, but I feel like Houston's just always there. Always.
Yeah.
Either way, go Chris Jones.
Oh yeah. Thanks for the question, Gino. I'm asking him now if he's watching or if I need to type all that shit out.
Yeah. So I got another question. This one's offense. At CMun87 in standard, Coleman, James White, or Mike Davis?
Coleman, James White, or Mike Davis.
Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, I'd
go Coleman.
Yeah, I'd go Coleman.
Just volume, really.
Alrighty.
I got great options either way, but I go Coleman.
I'm answering one in a PC. I won't mention the name because there's a reason that they did. We've covered this a couple times. It's basically Hicks or Cunningham. I'm going to say it again, folks. Don't trust coming off. Not in week 16. Not when you're sitting here trying to win that ring. Don't trust Hicks. I mean, he might light it up. He might not. He might only, he might be. He's been off for what, 5 weeks or something.
Yeah. He's probably going to count.
It might be just like Barry last week. Everybody was all hyped up. Barry's back. Barry got 45% of the snaps. They're going to ease these guys in some cases. So don't trust Hicks.
Yeah. Cool. So we're going to wrap this up. It's been a great season doing this with you guys. This specifically started as just Gary on his own. We had this idea of him just answering some questions, and it snowballed into this whole show.
I didn't even know what Periscope fucking was.
Yeah.
I didn't. There's like, hey, you guys, you want to go live, do a Periscope on Sunday? I'm like, well, I guess.
Yeah. And then Gary couldn't read the questions.
Yeah, because the way my setup is.
Yeah, so then I jumped in to help feed him questions. Then he got this whole OBS thing going, all the graphics that you see around us. Gary figured that one out, and it made me curious. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'll learn OBS real quick.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
and so, we then went into that. We brought in John, and then we started bringing in, I guess you could call him guests. Joe's, just a regular. So
the guys.
Yeah, so we're gonna definitely keep this going in the off season. Just as
I'm holding you to it.
It's just gonna come down to how often. If we're gonna do this weekly, or if we're gonna take some breaks. The IDP guys will be taking a break in February after the Super Bowl. This is the regular break time for most football analysts anyways. So that's when we're going to take a break. We'll be back in March. That's when we're going to launch the No Bullshit podcast, and all of that stuff is going to go. So definitely be back. Check us out in the spring, and anything else we've got going on. We don't take any days off, but we might not put out as much during that time.
Yeah.
So last minute questions coming in. Chess 1200. He's asking about a stash. Should he stash strong safety Watts or Whitehead? Needs one of them for next year.
Watts will probably end up being a free safety, and I thought there was going to be let's just call them safeties.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with either one. They're 50-50. Whitehead has more time. You got Conte. You got either one of them, maybe both of them. It's one of those things. You got to let some things develop over the offseason. If I had to pick one, probably Whitehead.
Gotcha. CMun87 comes with a defensive line question. Calais Campbell, Bradley Chubb, or Myles Garrett?
I kind of like Chubb in that one. He's playing the Raiders.
Man.
Their offensive line's terrible.
It is. They're like 28th or 27th in allowing sacks.
And he doesn't only just get sacks. I mean, Chubb will give you at least 3-4 tackles a game.
Mm-hmm.
He plays a lot of more or less outside linebacker as opposed to DN, but
right. Yeah, I'd go Chubb.
Nice.
Chubb.
All right. So, Mustache Gary, Jerry, Mustache Jerry. Yeah.
That would be Chop Scary.
Chop Scary.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's no mustache anymore.
Yeah. He said love the banter today, boys. So apparently we put on a good show. I'm glad. Yeah. Thank you for the kind words. This is just us. We are a group of guys that are just friends, and if you saw our Twitter feeds, our Twitter DMs together, it's all the same stuff. This is us 24/7.
It's Brazilian fart porn and all kinds of things.
It is. I didn't know that was a thing, but it really is.
John found it. It's he loves that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, and another, just real quick, if you do end up writing for us or doing a podcast or anything, you can be yourself. If you want to drop an F-bomb, you go ahead and drop that F-bomb. If you want to compare Leighton Vander Esch to German Scheiser videos, you do that. You know what I mean? If you want to say Richard Sherman is better behind a podium than he is on the football field, you go ahead and do that. You can do that.
I agree.
You say whatever the hell you want because we want you to be you, not some fake person to please the masses. So
yeah, we're about personality.
Don't come in shooting off the hip though, because that probably won't mesh with us. But yeah, John's got a good point. Speak your fucking mind.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's where the truth comes out. That's where you get the best takes. And that's where you get entertainment. I mean, our best shows have come from random shit. You misspoke. Instead of tackles last podcast, you said tickles. And that just kind of went down the line. I think we ended up having tickles for a loss and all sorts of shit.
It's tickles for laughs.
Tickles for laughs. That's what it was, yeah.
Right.
These are things. This is what you get with us. We're here to inform, and we like to have a good time. So, speaking of time, it is 12:32. We have our own lineups to set up. So we're gonna let y'all go. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a fan.
And Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah, Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry Christmas. May the fantasy gods win you your fucking championship.